Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos. Today's block is called Swirls. It finishes at 12 inches. Yesterday's block was a little bit more involved, and this one is very easy. There are only 2 different patches and very big pieces. So I think you'll like this one. And it looks like a swirl to me, so I called it Swirls. Here's the diagram, just the 2 different patches. Here are the 4 blocks set block to block. So here are the patches. Patch A is a 6-inch finished quarter square triangle. We cut squares 7 1/4 inches, cut them in half diagonally twice, and you get 4 patches. We need 6 patches of each of the light and the dark fabrics, so you'll have to cut 2 squares and then you'll have 2 patches left over. Here are the AccuQuilt dies that will cut this shape. And patch B is a 3-inch finished half square triangle. We cut 3 7/8 squares, cut them in half once on the diagonal, and we get 2 patches. Here are the AccuQuilt dies. We'll need 4 patches of each of these fabrics. And let me show you where they go. Patch A is the quarter square triangle. They go all around the outside of this block. And patch B is the half square triangle, and they make this little 4-patch unit in the center. So we're going to make the half square triangles first and sew them together in this 4-patch. Then we're going to sew the patch A's all the way around them. All seams are scant 1/4 inch, except for if you're using AccuQuilt, you use a true 1/4 inch. And I suggest you make a test block before cutting multiple blocks. Here are the cutting instructions. For each of the fabrics, you're going to cut the same amount of patches. So patch A, we cut 2 7 1/4 inch squares, cut each in half diagonally twice for 8 patches. You will use 6 patches. That's for each of these fabrics. Patch B, you cut 2 3 7/8 squares for half square triangles 2 at a time. Or if you're using patches, cut each square in half once diagonally for 4 patches. So, and remember, if you're using AccuQuilt, you're cutting patches. So the first thing we're going to do is take the patch A's and make 2 each of these units shown. I've got my 2 squares each for the half square triangles 2 at a time. We'll set those aside. And then these are the other patch B's. So we'll look at our diagram on step 1 and put this like that and one like that. You'll flip this over and it's a triangle, so you match all 3 sides and stitch along this side. Press your seams open. The other unit looks like this. It's switched. Do the same thing. Flip it over, match all 3 sides, stitch, and press. Our 2 sets of step 1 units are done, so we'll put those to the side for now. And we're going to take the B patches, or squares, and I'm going to use the 2 at a time method to make half square triangles. If you're not familiar with this method, stay tuned for a short tutorial that will show you how. And of course, if you have any other method you like to do to make half square triangles, you can use whatever method you choose. On the back side of the light fabric, we're going to draw a diagonal line, put the fabrics together, right sides together, and we're going to stitch on either side of the diagonal line. Here is the diagonal line drawn, and then the stitching on both sides. Now we cut this in half along the diagonal line. Then we have our 2 half square triangles. Press the seams open and cut off the nubs. Now our half square triangles are done, and we're going to look at step 3 and look at the diagram. We're going to put the 4 half square triangles together in this little 4-patch. Just follow the diagram and lay out the patches like the diagram shows, and it will look like this. So these 2 together and these 2, press the seams and then sew the rows together. Next we go to step 4. We're going to take these leftover patch A and sew them to the 4 patch like this. You'll need to pay careful attention to the placement of the fabrics. We'll sew these 2 first, like this, and these are going to be here. So I start with the opposite sides first, it doesn't matter which one. And I'm going to take this piece and turn it, it's hard to tell what the front is of this. I'm going to take this piece and put the right sides up. Then I'll take this piece, flip it over, and lay it on top. I'm looking at the triangles that are on the sides here, and I want the triangles to be, first let's line up the top edge here. I want the triangles to be about the same size, and this one's a little bit bigger, so I'm going to scooch it just a little bit, see what happens. And that's about right. Now I'm going to sew, start here and sew. When you get to this point, when you see this point right here, that's where the 2 fabrics meet, stitch just above that point so you won't cut off the points, and then continue stitching off. And do the same to the other side. We have the sides pieced and our points are nice and pretty and the seams pressed open. We'll take our ruler now and line it up against this edge. We're going to cut off these little nubs on each side. Now you'll do the exact same thing with this side. Put the right sides up and just center this piece on the piece at the bottom and look at your little triangles on the side. It has a little V here. If you start and stop your stitching in that V on that side and this side, and then here is your point, you'll want to stitch above that point so the points don't cut off. If you're using AccuQuilt, this piece will have these points cut off, and when you place them on here, use this seam line as your guide, put the point of your fabric right there, and then these edges should match up. They'll be cut off and they'll match up this edge along here. If for some reason they don't match, if this is too small, then center it and don't try to stretch it to make it fit. You'll just make the block distorted. So just lay it down on there, center it, and stitch it. Now we've completed step 4, and you'll need to cut off these nubs. If you haven't used AccuQuilt, you'll have nubs. So just trim those off before you go to the next step. For the next step, we'll just look at the diagram and these pieces we did in step 1. We're going to sew just like we did here, these pieces in step 3. And again, we'll have to look at the diagram to make sure we're putting the right piece in the right spot. So I'm going to turn my piece so it matches the diagram, because the background triangles are pointing up and down. So then I'll take this one, it goes like this, and this one goes like this, this one, that, I think these are right. This one goes like that. So now we'll look to make sure that that's right, and it looks right. So you'll do these the same way. Take these away, do these 2 first, or opposite sides first, and do it the exact same way. Flip it over with the right side up and match it. You'll want to match the point of this triangle with the seam line down here. Just use your pen to mark that. And then here are your little triangles on the edge. So do that for the opposite sides, press, and then do the last 2 sides. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos.